This is a big story tonight. A federal judge in Chicago just ordered the release of hundreds of people from federal custody after they were arrested without warrants, which is a violation of a long-standing court order.
Our NBC Chicago investigative reporter Chuck Goudie joining us now with late details. Chuck?
Alice and Stephan, the handcuffs are coming off more than 600 people detained during Operation Midway Blitz. They were improperly arrested by Immigration and Customs agents and Border Control officers as part of President Trump's attempts to rid Chicago of undocumented immigrants with criminal backgrounds. But as NBC5 investigates has found, 85% of arrestees have no criminal convictions, and hundreds of those arrested without warrants are now to be released on bond. Despite a court order banning warrantless arrests that had been agreed to by the government, Border Control officers and ICE agents continued to round up suspected immigration violators without legal warrants.
Because the government has been unlawfully detaining people in mandatory detention, I'm very fearful that at least a couple hundred of them are already gone.
Gone as in deported, either at the government's hand or self-deported. But of the thousands who remain in U.S. custody, Judge Jeffrey Cummings today ordering the release of 615 people who were arrested without warrants. Judge Cummings allowing the government time to recheck that there are no dangerous criminals being released. Deadline a week from Friday. For now then, they are among an estimated 5,000 Chicago area detainees who will remain behind bars, mostly locked up in local jailhouses under contract with ICE. NBC5 Investigates has found at least 20 facilities scattered across the central U.S. being used by the Chicago Immigration Field Office in Wisconsin, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma, far from their Chicago homes, and some even further away in terrible conditions, according to civil rights investigators.
We have seen a pattern of people being transferred to Texas and places like Louisiana, which are closer to where they do their ultimate deportation flights. And we have seen that those facilities have grown in size and the conditions are frankly very dire. So for example, a lot of the class members are being held at Fort Bliss, which is literally a tent camp. It's not even actual physical buildings, in which a couple weeks ago, as we reported to the court, there were torrential rains such that all the beds were wet. And so yes, I think part of the tactic here is one, holding people unlawfully into detention and denying them bond, but then two, placing them in squalid conditions so they give up.
As part of the court order, those awaiting release cannot be deported in the interim, and tonight 13 people whom ICE admits were improperly arrested are set for immediate release. The Chicago judge's order not being applauded tonight by administration officials, and Assistant Secretary of U.S. Homeland Security saying Judge Cummings is an activist, that's a quote, who's putting American lives at risk, and that was also a quote.
We've seen some of this legal maneuvering before. I can imagine the government's going to want to appeal this decision by the judge. I mean, can they do this? And this order, is this going to hold things up for longer than a week now?
We certainly have seen things like that. There's debate as to whether the order is appealable because the government's agreed to do certain things, then violated them. Homeland Security and Justice Department officials did not answer our questions today about whether an appeal will be attempted. So we'll see.
Thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.